Marcus Chen sat on his porch, metal legs stretched out before him, watching the Kansas wheat fields sway in the evening breeze. The prosthetic still ached sometimes, phantom pain from the Kepler 442b campaign, where humanity had helped the Zephyrian Alliance push back the void crawlers. That was 3 years ago. But the memories remained sharp as laser fire. The delivery drone hummed overhead, larger than any postal unit he'd seen before. It descended slowly, careful with its precious cargo. Marcus frowned as it landed on his gravel driveway. He wasn't expecting anything, especially not something requiring a diplomatic courier drone bearing the golden seal of the Zephyrian royal house. Marcus Chen, formerly Sergeant First Class, 3rd Human Expeditionary Force. The drone's voice carried the formal tones of alien protocol. That's me. Marcus stood, leaning on his walking stick. Delivery from His Luminescence, King Asterion of the Zephyrian Throne Worlds. Please present identification for biometric confirmation. Marcus pressed his thumb to the scanner. The drone chirped approval and projected a holographic message. King Asterion's tall, crystalline form materialized, his voice resonating with harmonic overtones. Greetings, Marcus Chen. Your actions during the Battle of the Crimson Nebula have not been forgotten. Though your people called it a tactical retreat, we know the truth. You held the line when others could not. You saved my daughter's ship when logic demanded you save yourself, Marcus remembered. Princess Lirelai's flagship had been disabled, floating dead in space, while void crawlers swarmed toward it. Command had ordered the human forces to fall back. To regroup, Marcus had disobeyed orders, taking his squad in a desperate rescue mission. They'd gotten the princess out, though it cost him his leg and 2 good soldiers. I send you this gift, the king continued. Not as payment for a debt, but as recognition of your character. Humans possess something remarkable. The willingness to sacrifice for others. Even strangers. This companion will serve you well. The hologram faded, and the drone's cargo bay opened with a soft hiss. Steam rolled out, and Marcus heard a sound that made his breath catch. A whimper, small and frightened. Inside the climate-controlled chamber lay a creature unlike anything he'd ever seen. It was roughly wolf-shaped, but covered in scales that shifted color like oil on water. 6 legs ended in delicate, almost hand-like paws. 2 tails twitched nervously, and from its back sprouted gossamer wings folded tight against its body. But the eyes were ancient, intelligent, and very afraid. Easy there, Marcus said softly, approaching slowly. The creature's scales flickered from deep blue to pale yellow. I'm not going to hurt you. The being's mouth opened, revealing not fangs but something closer to a beak lined with small, sharp teeth. When it spoke, Marcus nearly fell over. You are the one called Marcus? The human who defied orders to save royalty? The voice was melodic, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze, but unmistakably questioning. You can talk. All Kithara can speak. I am Whisper of Distant Stars, though my previous keeper called me Whisper. The creature's head tilted, studying him. You seem surprised. Did the king not explain? Marcus shook his head, still processing. He mentioned a companion. Didn't specify a talking. What did you call yourself? Kithara? My people are rare. We bond with warriors of exceptional virtue across the galaxy. I was companion to the king's brother before he fell in the war against the Devourers. Whisper's scales dimmed to deep purple. I have been without purpose since then. Without purpose? Whisper padded out of the drone's container, moving with fluid grace. Up close, Marcus could see the intricate patterns in the scales. The way they caught and reflected light like tiny prisms. Kithara are not pets. Marcus Chen. We are partners. We choose our bonds based on character, on deeds that speak to our souls. King Asterion believes you worthy, but the choice is mine. The drone lifted off, leaving them alone in the growing twilight. Marcus looked down at this impossible creature on his doorstep. What does that mean exactly? It means I will observe you. I will learn who you truly are, not who you appear to be in moments of crisis. If you prove worthy, we will bond. If not, Whisper's wings rustled slightly. I will find another path. Marcus felt a strange mix of honor and pressure. He'd faced down alien war machines, led troops through the hell of space combat, but this small creature's judgment somehow seemed more daunting than any of that. Well, he said finally, I suppose you'd better come inside. It gets cold out here at night, and I imagine you're hungry after that trip. Whisper's scales shifted to a warm golden hue. You think of my comfort before asking what I require, or what powers I might grant you. Interesting. The creature followed him toward the house, 6 legs creating an oddly soothing rhythm on the wooden porch steps. Inside, Marcus watched as Whisper explored his modest home with careful curiosity. The creature examined his military commendations with what seemed like respectful attention, then spent long minutes studying the photographs of his lost squad mates. You honor your dead, Whisper observed. They died saving others. That's worth remembering. And yet you display their images beside medals of your own achievement. You do not separate your glory from their sacrifice. Marcus hadn't really thought about it that way. We did it together. Doesn't feel right to pretend otherwise. Whisper's tail twitched in what might have been approval. Tell me about the day you lost your leg. So Marcus did. He talked about the impossible choice. About knowing the rescue mission was suicide but going anyway. About watching his soldiers die to get Princess Lirelei to safety. About the explosion that took his leg and nearly his life. You could have followed orders, Whisper said when he finished. Lived to fight another day. Lived to fight another day. Could have. But she would have died, and her people were counting on her. Sometimes the right choice isn't the smart choice. Whisper curled up on the rug near the fireplace, wings settling like a gossamer blanket. The king spoke truly. You are worthy of observation. Marcus Chen, tomorrow, I will begin to truly know you. As Marcus prepared for bed, he couldn't shake the feeling that his quiet retirement was about to become far more complicated. The next morning brought the kind of Kansas thunderstorm that could humble anyone. Rain lashed against the windows as Marcus made breakfast, glancing occasionally at Whisper, who had positioned himself near the window to watch the lightning dance across the sky. Fascinating, the Kythera murmured, scales shifting through rapid color changes with each thunder crack. Your planet's electrical displays are more violent than most. Do they frighten you? Marcus cracked eggs into a pan. Used to love them as a kid. Still do, I guess. There's something honest about a storm. It doesn't pretend to be anything other than what it is. An interesting perspective. On my homeworld, storms are gentle things. Brief sparkles of light in crystalline skies. This, another lightning bolt illuminated the kitchen. This has power behind it. Want some breakfast? I'm not sure what Kythera eat, but I've got eggs, bacon, toast. Whisper's head tilted in that curious way. You offer food before knowing if I can digest it safely. Before knowing if I might prefer to hunt my own prey. Marcus paused, spatula in hand. Should I have asked first? I just thought you might be hungry. Most beings would have demanded answers about my dietary needs, my capabilities, what I might offer them in return. Whisper moved closer, scales now a soft blue-green. You simply offered hospitality. Seemed like the right thing to do. Marcus plated the eggs. Though I probably should ask, can you eat human food? Kythera are omnivorous. We can digest most organic matter. Whisper accepted a small portion of scrambled eggs, eating with delicate precision. Your food preparation shows care. You cook not just for sustenance, but for comfort. They ate in comfortable silence until Whisper spoke again. Tell me about your life before the war. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Nothing special. Grew up on a farm not far from here. Joined the military because college was expensive, and I wanted to see the universe. He gestured at the window. Turns out, I missed Earth more than I expected. You chose to return here after your injury. The Alliance offered you citizenship on New Geneva, access to advanced medical facilities, a pension that would have made you wealthy by human standards. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You know about that? The king's message included your full service record. You turned down significant comfort to return to this isolated place. Why? Outside, the storm was beginning to weaken. Marcus watched water run down the glass in complex patterns. This is home. The place that made me who I am. Seemed wrong to abandon it just because it's not as fancy as what was on offer. Even though your injury makes farming impossible? Even though you live alone here with few resources? I get by. VA pension covers the basics. And I've got the mechanic shop in town. Turns out fixing farm equipment and fixing spacecraft use a lot of the same principles. Marcus refilled his coffee. Besides, being alone isn't the same as being lonely. Whisper's colors shifted to thoughtful purple. Explain. I've got neighbors. Mrs. Rodriguez brings me vegetables from her garden. Tom Miller calls when he needs help with his tractor. Sarah Chen, no relation, just happens to share my name. Stops by to check on me when she's in the area. It's not flashy, but it's real. You find meaning in small connections. The best ones are small. Easy to miss if you're not paying attention. As if summoned by their conversation, the sound of an approaching vehicle cut through the rain. Marcus looked out to see a battered pickup truck pulling into his driveway. A woman in her 60s climbed out, not bothering with an umbrella as she hurried to the door. That's Mrs. Rodriguez, Marcus told Whisper. She probably saw the delivery drone yesterday and wants to make sure I'm okay. Maria Rodriguez knocked firmly. When Marcus opened the door, she bustled in with the kind of maternal authority that brooked no argument. Marcus. Mijo. Who was that drone yesterday? Government's not giving you trouble about your benefits, are they? She stopped short when she saw Whisper, who had politely moved to the center of the room. For a moment, the only sound was rainwater dripping from her jacket. Maria, Marcus said carefully. I'd like you to meet Whisper. He's a friend. From off-world, Maria's eyes narrowed as she studied the Kithara. Whisper remained perfectly still, scales a neutral gray. Can it understand me? She asked. I can, Whisper replied gently. And I mean no harm to you or your family. Maria crossed herself, then surprised everyone by stepping forward. You're the gift from that alien king. Aren't you? The one Marcus saved the daughter of? News travels fast, Marcus muttered. Tom Miller's boy works at the spaceport. Saw the diplomatic courier filing. Maria continued to study Whisper. You hungry, little one? You look too thin. Whisper's scales flickered through several colors before settling on warm yellow. Your immediate concern is for my well-being, not your own fear. Remarkable. Fear's a luxury, Maria said practically. Marcus vouches for you. That's enough. Besides, you've got kind eyes. She turned to Marcus. I brought tamales. Figured you might need comfort food after whatever excitement that drone brought. As Maria bustled around his kitchen, heating food and chattering about neighborhood news, Marcus caught Whisper watching everything with intense focus. The alien's scales had settled into gentle pastels, and his posture seemed more relaxed than it had been since his arrival. Your people build community without formal structures, Whisper observed quietly. No hierarchies of obligation, yet you care for each other. That's just how small towns work, Marcus said. No. I have observed many species, many cultures. This is distinctly human. Whisper paused. On my homeworld, such care would require ritual, ceremony, formal bonds. Here, it simply is. Maria returned with a plate of steaming tamales. Made extra yesterday, like something told me to. Must have been instinct. She handed one to Whisper. Try this, little wolf. It's been Marcus's favorite since he was barely walking. Whisper accepted the food with something approaching reverence. You offer me something precious to your friend, without knowing if I will appreciate it. Food is meant to be shared, Maria said simply. Especially during storms. They spent the afternoon together, Maria regaling Whisper with stories about Marcus's childhood while the veteran squirmed with good-natured embarrassment. The alien listened to every word, asking thoughtful questions about human customs and relationships. When the storm finally passed and Maria prepared to leave, she stopped at the door. "You take care of our Marcus, you hear? He's got a heart bigger than his common sense sometimes." "I understand," Whisper replied solemnly. "He is precious to your pack." "Pack," Maria repeated, smiling. "I like that. Yes, he's precious to our pack." After she left, Marcus and Whisper sat on the porch watching the sun break through the clouds. Steam rose from the wet earth, creating an almost magical atmosphere. "Today has been educational," Whisper said. "I begin to understand what the king saw in your species." "We're not that special," Marcus protested. "You create bonds without coercion. You offer aid without expectation of return. You find purpose in service to others, rather than dominance over them." Whisper's wings rustled softly. "Most civilizations must evolve these traits over millennia. Humans seem born with them. We're also pretty good at fighting when we need to be." "Yes, but you fight to protect, not to conquer." "There is a significant difference." Whisper stood, moving to the porch railing. "I have made my decision, Marcus Chen." Marcus felt his heart rate pick up. "And I choose to bond with you. Not because a king commanded it, but because in one day you have shown me more genuine virtue than I witnessed in years at court." Whisper turned to face him. "If you will have me as a true partner." Relief and honor warmed Marcus's chest. "I'd be grateful for the company." "Then it is done." Whisper's scales blazed golden in the setting sun. "We are bound now, you and I, for as long as we both shall live." As they watched the stars emerge in the clearing sky, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that his quiet life was about to become extraordinarily complicated in all the best ways. 2 weeks after the bonding, Marcus discovered that life with a Kithara was full of surprises. Whisper could see electromagnetic frequencies invisible to human eyes, predict weather patterns with uncanny accuracy, and somehow always knew when Mrs. Rodriguez was approaching long before her truck appeared. More importantly, the alien's presence had brought an unexpected peace to the farm. The morning everything changed started like any other. Marcus was in his workshop, rebuilding the transmission on Tom Miller's harvester, when Whisper's scales suddenly blazed bright red. "Something approaches," the Kithara said, wings spreading slightly. "Multiple ships. Configuration unknown. But their energy signatures are aggressive." Marcus straightened, military instincts kicking in. "How many? How long until they arrive?" 3 vessels. Moving fast. "Perhaps 10 minutes." Whisper's scales cycled through rapid color changes. "Marcus, I sense no communication attempts. No identification broadcasts. This is not a diplomatic mission." Through the workshop's open door, Marcus could see his neighbors going about their normal routines. Tom Miller was fixing fence posts in the distance. Maria Rodriguez was hanging laundry in her backyard. Children played in the street of the small town visible across the fields. "His people, his responsibility. Can you contact the Alliance?" Marcus asked, moving toward the house where his emergency communicator was stored. "Already trying." "Something is jamming local communications." Whisper bounded alongside him, all 6 legs moving in perfect coordination. "Marcus, there is something else. The energy signatures. I have encountered them before." "Where?" "The void crawlers. These ships match their profiles." "Anon." Marcus felt cold dread settle in his stomach. The void crawlers were supposed to be gone, driven back beyond the galactic rim 3 years ago. If they had returned, if they had found Earth. "Can you reach the princess, King Asterion?" "Not through conventional channels." "But..." Whisper paused, scales shifting to deep blue. "There is another way. A bonded Kithara can send distress calls across vast distances, but it requires significant energy. If I do this, I will be weakened for days." "Do it." Whisper didn't hesitate. The alien's wings spread wide, and suddenly the air around him shimmered with barely visible energy. His scales began to pulse in complex patterns, creating a light show that was beautiful and terrifying. When he spoke, his voice echoed strangely, as if coming from far away. "Message sent." Help will come, but not soon enough. The ships will arrive before any rescue. Marcus grabbed his old military rifle from the cabinet, checking the charge on its plasma cells. Then we buy time. How many people in the immediate area? 47 humans within a 3-kilometer radius. 18 children. Too many to evacuate, even if they had transport. Marcus's mind raced through tactical options. All of them grim. 3 void-crawler ships against 1 disabled veteran. And an exhausted alien. The math was simple and brutal. There is another option, Whisper said quietly. A bonded Kithara can channel their partner's life force, amplifying both our capabilities far beyond normal limits. We could become something greater than either of us alone. What's the catch? If the bond is not strong enough, it will kill us both. And even if it succeeds, we may not survive the strain. Marcus looked out the window at Mrs. Rodriguez hanging her grandson's tiny shirts on the line. At Tom Miller teaching his daughter to mend fence. At the children playing in the street, innocent and unaware of the death approaching from the sky. How strong does the bond need to be? Absolute trust. Complete unity of purpose. No hesitation. No doubt. Whisper met his eyes. We have known each other for only 2 weeks, but I know who you are, Marcus said. You're the being who chose to partner with a broken-down soldier instead of returning to a palace. You're the friend who sits with me during thunderstorms and helps Mrs. Rodriguez understand her grandson's homework. Your pack, Whisper's scales brightened to pure gold. And you are the human who saved a princess at the cost of his own flesh, who feeds neighbors before himself and finds worth in small kindnesses. You are worthy. The first ship appeared on the horizon, a black wedge against the blue sky. Together then, Marcus said. Together, Whisper agreed. They touched, hand to scaled head, and the world exploded into sensation. Marcus felt Whisper's consciousness merge with his own. Alien thoughts, flowing alongside human ones, in perfect harmony. His damaged body suddenly burned with new strength, muscles and nerves enhanced by Kithara biotechnology. His rifle felt light as a feather in hands that could now see across the full spectrum, track movement at impossible speeds, calculate trajectories with computer precision. Whisper, meanwhile, gained access to human tactical thinking, to the kind of creative problem-solving that had made humanity valuable allies across the galaxy. The aliens' natural abilities merged with human adaptability, creating something unprecedented. They moved as one being in 2 bodies, Marcus taking position while Whisper soared into the sky on wings now bright enough to blind. The first void-crawler ship swept low over the town, probably expecting easy prey. Instead, it met precision plasma fire that found every weak point in its armor. Marcus's shots, guided by Whisper's enhanced perception, tore through shields and hull like they were paper. The ship crashed into an empty field, exploding in a fireball that sent smoke billowing across the countryside. The second ship adapted quickly, staying high and firing indiscriminately at the ground. That was its mistake. Whisper dove from above, wings creating electromagnetic pulses that disrupted the ship's systems. As it faltered, Marcus put 3 shots through its engine core. The third ship landed disgorging void-crawler soldiers, insectoid things with too many legs and weapons that could dissolve flesh, but they had never faced a bonded pair working in perfect synchronization. Whisper created illusions, light patterns that confused their compound eyes, while Marcus flanked and struck with the kind of tactical brilliance that had made humans famous across the galaxy. When the last soldier fell, Marcus and Whisper collapsed together in the churned earth of his wheat field, the enhancement fading and leaving them both shaking with exhaustion. Is it done? Marcus gasped. It is done, Whisper confirmed, scales now barely flickering with residual light. Around them, their neighbors emerged from homes and hiding places. Tom Miller was the first to reach them, followed quickly by Mrs. Rodriguez and half the town. They found Marcus and Whisper surrounded by the wreckage of an alien invasion, 2 unlikely partners who had held the line when it mattered most. Mijo, Maria said softly, kneeling beside them. What did you do? What we had to. Marcus replied. What humans always do. Above them, the first Alliance ships appeared in the sky. King Astarion's golden vessels arriving at last. But the danger was already past, ended by a disabled veteran and his alien friend who had proven that the strongest bonds are forged not in palaces, but in the quiet moments between kindred spirits. Later, after the cleanup and the ceremonies and the official reports, Marcus and Whisper sat on their porch, watching another Kansas sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. "Do you think they'll come back?" Marcus asked. "Perhaps," Whisper replied. "But if they do, they will face not just one bonded pair, but an entire world of humans who understand what it means to protect those they love." "Is that your report to the king?" Whisper's scales shimmered with gentle humor. "My report will be simple. I have found my place among a remarkable species, one that transforms ordinary beings into heroes simply by calling them friends." As the stars emerged overhead, Marcus smiled. His quiet life had indeed become complicated, but he wouldn't change a moment of it.